Hello, welcome or welcome back to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me should be linked in the description box below this video. Here on the channel you'll find me chatting about my adventures in knitting, spinning, crochet and weaving, all of the fibre related things. Today's video is my April making plans video. If you are new to the channel, you may not be aware, well, first off, welcome if you're new. You're most welcome. Introduce yourself in the comments below. I love to hear from all of the folks that are watching these videos. If you are new, this might be the first monthly making plans video that you're watching. And so just as a quick explanation, I'm someone who enjoys having lots of works in progress on the needles, and sometimes I can use that as an excuse not to really focus on anything and to procrastinate on all of my projects and not really make too much progress. So over the last couple of years I have been employing a little game of chance to try and focus in on which projects I will work on. So I have a set of cards with some prompts on, and I have a multi-sided die that I rolled, and we come up with some prompts and I pick from my works in progress based on the prompts. So I should be doing the rolls later on in the video, but also in addition to the little game with the cards and the die, I also ask someone from our lovely Yarn and Yarns community to pick a project for me as well. So I have on my phone here a little random picker app. It's called Spin the Wheel, and on this wheel I have all of the names of people who have in the past said that they would be happy to pick a project for me. Each month I spin the wheel and pick a name and ask that person to pick a project for me. Now whoever gets chosen on the random wheel has carte blanche to pick whatever they wish to do so. So they can choose something from my works in progress list. Usually what I would do is reach out to the person who name has been picked, send them a link to my Ravelry project page, but if folks are not Ravelry users, then I'm happy to send a list of the projects that I'm currently have on my list. Or if nothing from my list of works in progress appeals to the person who is picking, they are most welcome to choose a new cast on for me. Any type of project, any type of craft really goes. And if I need to buy patterns or yarns, if I can't accommodate the person's choice from my current stash, I'm happy to purchase anything that I need to get the project started. So yeah, it's just a fun way for me to get the community involved in my monthly making. So without further ado, I'm going to spin the wheel and we shall see who will be picking one of my April projects. Okay, so it will be Lynn who is picking a project for me in April. So I'm going to reach out to Lynn and to find out what Lynn would like me to work on, and then once Lynn has chosen the project I shall come back in a few days time, however long that takes, and I shall roll the dice and we'll pick the prompts for the rest of the projects. So a couple of days have passed for me and I have heard back from our lovely Lynn, and Lynn actually gave me a few different projects to choose from. She's very kind to me. She said pick from these depending on what the dice comes up with in terms of the prompts. But I'm going to switch that around. I'm going to do it the other way around, and I'm going to pick, as usual, the first choice project from Lynn, and then I'll see if I can fit any of the other projects on Lynn's list into my making month ahead, depending on what the dice comes up with. So Lynn has said or suggested that I work on the pressed flowers socks, which was a project that I cast on for our 12 cast ons 2024. Have I mentioned the 12 cast ons yet in this video? Just in case I haven't, and just in case you're new, 12 cast ons is a make along that I host at the beginning of each year where I cast on a bunch of new projects, and there are some playlists on the channel if you want to find out more about that. I won't spend too much time chatting about it in this video. But yes, I cast on pressed flower socks using a combination of some opal yarn and some of my hand spun, and this was as far as I got on the first day working on that project. It's mosaic knitting, so you're only ever working with one colour at a time, which is really nice, but you get a beautiful colour work effect. And so yeah, I'm really thrilled to be picking this project back up. So thank you for choosing such a lovely project for me to work on during April in. It's time to roll the dice and pick 4 more prompts, and we can then see what we have in store for April making. Okay, so the dice have spoken, and there's a couple of prompts which will lead to specific projects, a couple that are a little bit more open to interpretation. I am going to put a little caveat against my April making though, because at the moment we have a close family member who has got some serious health issues. It could well mean that over the coming weeks and months there is a lot of to and froing to visit and support this family member. There could be quite a few hospital visits and things like that in my future. So I am going to pick my projects for April using this system, but there could be a few tough weeks ahead, and I'm not sure whether I want to kind of knit that stress and potential sadness into some of my lovely works in progress. So my thinking is I may well end up casting on a few new projects, perhaps some charity knits that I can start, finish and then give away. And things are still very much up in the air and we don't know exactly what's going to happen, and it could be we get great news when we receive test results that we're waiting for, in which case this is all sort of moot point. This is all a bit of a moot point, but yeah, I thought I'd just put a little caveat out there on my April making. So when it comes to my April making roundup, if we don't see many or any of these projects, that might be the reason why. Anyway, let's move on quickly and not dwell on that. Let's pick some projects to go with these prompts. The first prompt that I'm going to pick a project for is prompt number 14, and that is the random number generator prompt. And as luck or fate would have it, we got this prompt last month as well. So yeah, I will quickly tot up how many projects I've got listed on my Ravelry works in progress page, which at the moment is 27, and I will pull up a random number generator and we'll pop in the numbers 1 to 27. So I'm going to say number 1 is my oldest project, 27 is the newest, 26, so that's going to be one of my newer cast-ons. So let's hop back to my Ravelry project page. Oh, okay, that's kind of exciting. The 26th project that I've got listed on my Ravelry page at the moment is my Raya sweater, which was the 12th cast on of my 12 cast ons adventures. So let me just grab the project bag for that and we can have a chat about this project. The Raya sweater is a really fun project. I'm flicking through this issue of Pom Pom magazine to hopefully find a picture of the sweater for you. This is the very last issue of Pom Pom. They are sadly no longer publishing. When I received this, there's lots of projects in here that I really wanted to cast on, but the Raya sweater was the one that spoke to me the most. I just kept thinking about this project and wanted to knit one. So it's a lovely crop sweater with a fringe detail at the bottom. So for my Raya, I am using a combination of some hand spun yarn and some commercial yarn. So the sort of browny colour that you see for the background is the commercial yarn, and then I'm using some bits of my hand spun, trying not to pull the stitches off the needles as I share this project, to create the contrast colour and the fringe detail. So this was as far as I got on the first day of cast-ons, and I've been looking forward to revisiting this project ever since, because it's going to be so much fun to knit, so much fun to work with these colours. I love the brown blue combination. So yeah, hopefully I will add a few inches to my Raya sweater during April. The next prompt that I'm going to pick for is number 5, which is crochet. And I honestly cannot remember when the last time I picked up a crochet hook was. So it's quite exciting that that prompt got picked for this month. I only have one crochet project on the go at the moment. I love crochet, but I do find it a little bit hard work on my wrists these days, so I don't do as much as I used to. Not this past December, but the December before, I took part in an advent swap of mini skeins with a group of my lovely friends, and I started a simple granny square blanket using the mini skeins that I received in that swap. And as you can see, I have been crocheting up sets of 4 squares and then using a really dark charcoal grey, almost black, to make borders for these squares. So I've got a whole bunch of these sat in my little project bag, and for the most part I think I kept up with crocheting those squares. However, one of my friend's packages didn't arrive in time for the sort of December making. So I've got a few more mini skeins in my bag that are waiting to be crocheted up. I think I will concentrate on finishing up the mini skeins that are in my little project bag, and it will be quite nice to actually try and decide a way forward for this little project, because when I started the project I knew I wanted to crochet a blanket, wanted to do something that was modular so I didn't have a big piece of crochet that I was lugging around with me. I was working a temporary Christmas job at the time, and crocheting up these squares was something I could do on the train or in my breaks. So yeah, I wanted a modular project that would be quite portable. I haven't yet decided what size I want my blanket to be, how many squares I'm going to need to make. So I think it would be quite nice to spend some time in April figuring that out, laying out the squares that I've got and trying to calculate how many I might need to complete the blanket, and then just crocheting up as many as I can. So yeah, perfect. A little bit of crochet for April. The next prompt that I'm going to pick a project for is number 9, which is handspun. And this again is one I think that cropped up last month as well. So we had 2 prompts that are the same for 2 months running, which is a little bit unusual but also kind of fun. So the aim for that project is obviously to work with handspun in some way, shape or form. Already, out of the 3 projects that I've got lined up for my April making, 2 of those are going to be utilising some handspun. The pressed flower socks has got some of my handspun yarn in, and also so has the Raya sweater. So I think rather than choosing another project which is at the knitting stage, I'm going to choose to actually do some spinning for that prompt. Throughout March I've been working on a spin for a traveller shawl, which was another project that I started for our 12 cast-ons this year, and I've just about finished the singles for that spin. There's a few more days left before we reach the end of March as I'm recording this, so there is a chance that the spinning portion of that will get finished. However, if I don't get time, I will carry that over into April and ply my yarn so that it's ready to knit when the time comes. Because I'm so near to finishing that project, as I say, there could be a chance that it will be finished before April begins, but even if it's not, I think it will probably only take me a few days into April to get that spin finished. So I'm actually going to start spinning for another project, which is going to be eventually, hopefully, a baseline cardigan, which was a pattern that I was kindly gifted and I'd hoped to start as part of our 12 cast-ons, but didn't quite get around to fitting it in because I didn't have quite enough yarn. So I've decided I want to spin for that project. I've picked out some fibre that I'm going to spin for the contrast stripes. So my plan was always to get that spin onto my wheel as soon as I finish the traveller shawl spin. So I think that is what I'm going to be choosing for the handspun prompt for April. So far it's shaping up to be quite a nice, well-rounded crafting month, I think. Plenty of knitting, also some crochet and some spinning. So we have one more prompt left to choose, and this is prompt number 18, and on the back of the card is 12 cast-ons. So I get to pick any of my 12 cast-on projects, which could be from this year or previous years, because not all of my projects that I cast on get finished in the year that I intended them to. So I've got plenty of things to choose from. One of the other things that I'm trying to do this year is to make sure I'm working on a mix of things from my works in progress pile, some older projects as well as some newer projects. But I've already kind of met that quota really, because my crochet blanket has been on the go for well over a year now. So I've got something older, and I've got my pressed flower socks, which are a newer project. So, and my Raya, which is also a newer project. And of course, if I start a new spin, that's a brand new project. So I don't think I need to worry too much about whether I'm picking a newer or an older project. I just need to pick something, don't I? So I'm just having a little look through my project list. And actually, I think I'm going to pick the oldest project that I've got left from all of my previous years of 12 cast-ons. Does that even make sense? So I have a project here which I cast on back in 2020, or it may possibly have been the beginning of 2021, and this is my oldest 12 cast-on project. So let me have a rummage around in the project bags behind me and we shall search that project out. The project in question are the Selbu socks, which is a pattern by Skein Deer Knits. And it's been a while since I worked on these. This is the pair of socks that I currently have on the needles, that have been on the needles for the longest. And I've had a little bit of an up and down relationship with this pair of socks, because I picked this up a little while ago and I ended up misreading the pattern, and I done a whole bunch of knitting and then realised that I hadn't started the gusset increase. It's a toe-up sock, obviously, as you can see. And I'd started the gusset increase in the wrong place, so I had to rip back a bunch of knitting, and the project kind of ended up in the naughty corner again and has been neglected for long enough, I think. So I think it's about time that we resurrect this one and see if we can make it work. This might be finish or frog for this project, I think. Third time's a charm, right? If I don't get it right this time, it may never happen. But once I get past the first sock and get the fit right, the second sock should be a breeze, right? So yeah, this is what I have so far on my Selbu sock. That's all of the knitting I've done since 2021 or 2020, whenever I cast this on. So I think it's about time that I revisit this project and figure out what's what, and whether I'm actually going to get round to finishing that one. So there we go. Those are the picks for April. I know that a lot of you out there let me know that you now play along with my little game and you pick projects for yourself based on these prompts. So I think a couple of these may be a little bit harder for everyone to pick projects for. Random number generator is obviously self-explanatory. Just have a little count up of your works in progress and get either someone in your family to randomly pick one, or use a random number generator like I did. Crochet, maybe if you are not a crocheter, you could pick a different craft to work on this month instead. Perhaps you are mostly a knitter. Maybe you'd like to do a little bit of spinning, a little bit of weaving, perhaps some embroidery, who knows, maybe just something a little bit different. Yeah, just pick up a project that is a slightly different craft to your norm, your go-to. For handspun, I know not everyone out there is a spinner, so if you don't have any handspun in your stash, if you're not a spinner, maybe pick something that is either a bit of a luxury yarn or perhaps something you don't work with so often. So if your go-to is a 4-ply yarn, for instance, maybe work with double knit or Aran or chunky or vice versa. Just pick something slightly different to what you usually gravitate towards. And then the final prompt, number 18, the 12 cast on. Again, I know not everyone watching will have joined our 12 cast on make along, so we could open that up to a wider make-along interpretation. So perhaps you have in the past started a project for a make-along that you could pick up again if you have neglected that. Maybe you're about to start a new make-along or a mystery knit-along or something like that. Perhaps you could use that interpretation to satisfy that prompt when you're picking from your own projects. Okay, so I think that is everything for today's video. Do let me know in the comments below whether you are setting yourself any making priorities for the month of April, for the coming weeks. If you are playing along with the dice roll game, let me know what your project picks are. I always love to hear from you and be inspired by what you are all creating out there. I will be back again soon with some more making content. I will of course be doing a March making wrap up, and I haven't forgotten that I'm going to be doing a wrap up of my projects from last year's 12 cast-ons. It's been an unexpectedly busy March with the family stuff that we've got going on, so I haven't yet been able to gather my projects and get around to recording that, but it's still on my radar and I hope I will get to record that video soon. So yeah, plenty of things to come here on the channel, so yeah, I hope you will join me for whatever crops up here next. But until we do get to spend time together again, I hope you get to do some of the things that you enjoy. Great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.